Well, hello. Good evening. Welcome to When Wisdom Talks. I'm Alisha.
And I'm Kadesha.
And I'm Naomi, keeping the dance going. Welcome, everybody, to When Wisdom Talks, another Thursday that we're hanging out with all of you. And let me tell you, we're always excited to be on here with you and having this chance to share. We thank you for tuning in, all of our faithfuls. We thank you for tuning in every Thursday, hanging out with us, sharing, letting people know that we're on. We thank you. And then also our newcomers, please leave a comment in the chat so that we know that you are here, because we want to give you a shout out. Of course, you know, every Thursday we have something exciting to share with you, whether it's our Tell Me Something Good segment, whether it's our guest, or whether it's just something fun that we're sharing with you. We always take this time to do life with you just for an hour, just for 1 hour. You're taking time out and we're doing life together for 1 hour. And of course, you know, our mission is to empower all of you to live better and wiser through engaging discussions, fun activities, and inspiring special guest interviews, and of course, coordinating, because we all have on glasses. Can you see what we were doing? We're trying to be fashionable too, because we're also cute. But anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Kadesha because we're cutting up early already.
I know. I was like, dang, she like called us cute. Okay. I received my cuteness. And I'm sitting here sharing, y'all, sharing on Facebook. So go ahead and share the page. 2.5 seconds to share the page, share the show, text it out, do whatever you have to do so we can go ahead and be live and in living color in somebody's living room. Yes. So I always say that we share the negative all the time. You always hear negative things, but let's make sure we're sharing the positive stuff as well. So Naomi did a good job reminding us that we are here for an hour. 60 minutes every Thursday, but we're giving you something fun, like she said, some empowerment. We try and give you a little bit of Jesus as well, and just try to be the light of the world as best as we can. But we've been this month, oh my gosh, we're actually almost at the end of the month. I think 1 week, 7 days left. But this month we've been talking about summer fun, right? And so the topic that we're going to talk about tonight may not sound like fun, but it will at least allow you to have fun a lot longer here on this earth, okay? And so we're addressing a National Men's Health Day. So we have a awesome guest, a faithful follower, and a faithful family member to Wisdom on the Wall and When Wisdom Talks. And we're going to be talking about men's health awareness and just honoring that National Men's Health Day. We all have men in our lives that we love, that we want to see here for a long time, and we want to encourage them to be healthy. And so that's the discussion that we're going to be talking about tonight. Of course, none of us are medical professionals, okay, but we do have wisdom. We use in our experience, our knowledge, and the things that we've been through and seen our family members go through as well. But we always want to encourage you to consult the expert a doctor, a physician, a therapist, or anything above, but we do trust the wisdom that God has given us as well. And so we're going to be sharing that. But again, make sure you share, share, share. So go ahead and tag a few men. Actually, think about some of the men in your life, nephews, uncles, spouses, fathers. Actually, I need to tag my dad. Make sure you share it with them. If you ever want to learn more about Wisdom on the Wall, which is our 501c3, our nonprofit, you can go directly to wisdomonthewall.com. I think I done covered everything. Yes. So we're going to head it on over to our next segment. Everybody say yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All righty. Well, welcome to our I love it. That's how you know we are live and in color. Bloopers, was it delays and all? We are here for it, okay? But this is our Tell Me Something Good segment. And this is the time when we are your bearers of some good news. As Kadesha said, we spread a lot of bad news quite easily, but we want to be your bearers of some good news this evening. So we'll share a little bit about, I don't know, maybe something we did, something we saw, maybe something we ate, places we went. Whatever it is going to be good, hopefully, for you. At least it was good for us, okay? But in any event, I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. And my Tell Me Something Good tonight. Well, first of all, I have two little quick things before I go into mine. They are good things. The first one is I want to send a shout out to Aunt Linda. She had heart surgery yesterday, and glory be to God, he is awesome. She was released and she is home recuperating. Not sure if she's watching us. She said she was going to watch us unless she fell off to sleep. So I told her, look, if you fell off to sleep, it's meant for you to get some sleep. But in any way, we just want to thank God for allowing her to come through safely, and she's home. Also, I want to send a birthday wish today to my brunkle. And yes, I said brunkle. That is my uncle who is like my brother, Daryl. Happy birthday. Today is his birthday. And love you. I know you're enjoying your day. Sometimes he tunes in. Not sure if he's tuning in tonight. But in any event, happy birthday. All righty. So my Tell Me Something Good tonight is about something I didn't think I would ever end up talking about. But I was, as y'all know, when I'm doing some things, whether it's numbers, crunching numbers, working on some stuff, I like some background noise. So I was trying to find something on TV, and I found Bobby Brown's new show. It's called Bobby Brown, Every Little Step. Now, let me just say, and the reason why I said I didn't think I would be watching anything was because years ago, some people may remember, he did a reality show when he was married with Whitney, and that at that time they were still kind of in the midst of their addiction, so that show was a little kind of off the chain, so to speak. So I would not have been watching, but this one I had it in the background because I was like, okay, it's Bobby Brown or whatever. And it really caught my eye. I noticed I ended up start paying attention, and I think a big part of it was because of our topic tonight, talking about men's health. And he's in the midst of, anybody is, kind of following his story, maybe even watching the show or just seeing it on the news. He's in the midst of trying to live a sober life. And he's going through a lot of things. So, you talk about health, we talk about physical health, and he's going through trying to lose weight. If you've seen him, he's gained a lot of weight. And you're seeing the whole journey of him trying to lose weight because New Edition is touring again. So he's trying to get back in shape to be able to sing and do all the dances that we've always loved New Edition doing. But also from the physical standpoint of, trying to overcome the addiction from drug and alcohol. But also he's had some major losses in his life. Not only did he lose one child, his daughter, Bobby Christina, but just a year and a half ago, he lost his namesake son, Bobby Brown Jr., who died of a drug and alcohol overdose or from that. And so he's dealing with emotional and mental issues surrounding that. He's married. He's been married for 10 years to who was his business manager, and they have 3 children together. So he has a lot of nuances going on in his life. And as I was watching it, it seems like he's trying to be a new, better, more improved Bobby. And I just thought that was so great to really see their transparency. They're being really authentic in this and showing what they're going through, like the fears and the concerns that he has with, especially going out on tour. You know, you think about all the temptations that are out there, and he always talks about how he always would drink, you know, or do something before going on stage because it would remove the fear. So now this is the first time he's really actually entertaining in his own right mind, for lack of a better word. So I really enjoyed that it was like kind of a back-to-back type of thing, I guess, to get people kind of caught up to where they are. And I'm not sure what days it come on, but I was really, really impressed because it was a more improved person, and showing how he's not trying to be better just for himself, but also for his wife, to really save his marriage. Because obviously when you look at addictions, it affects everybody. And then try to be that great father for his 3 youngest children. So again, it was Bobby Brown, every little step kind of after that song. So yeah, that's my Tell Me Something Good tonight.
I love it. That sounds really good, Alisha. He did have the moves, honey. That him and New Edition had those moves. And what channel did you say that was on?
It's A&E.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, we all deserve a second chance 3 times, 4 times over, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to at least enjoying some episodes, and so thanks for sharing. So my Tell Me Something, or yeah, my Tell Me Something goods. I'll try to say 2 quickly. One was, so first and foremost, y'all too, I think y'all know enough that I love eating. So, you know, I'm working around the clock, and I have to schedule eating. Like, I'm always thinking about eating, where Mike is like, we'll get to it. I'm like, no, what we gonna eat? But so this past weekend, we tried a new restaurant, and it was so good in so many ways, right? So I think a part of it also was, I have been experiencing, not like, I haven't been receiving a lot of good customer service in different places that I've been going. I believe as a result of pandemic, right? People don't want to work, especially young people. And so for me to show up, and these young people really showed out, like, they were on it. Is everything okay? Like, it was just, they were so, I was impressed. So, but even more than that, the food was phenomenal. So the name of the place is called Nando's, and it's a restaurant that actually originated in South Africa, in Johannesburg. And so it's called Nando's Peri Peri. And so Mike and I, we like Peruvian food, where they do the rotisserie chicken and the rice and all those types of things. So it felt like it was in that vein, which it was. But when I tell you, everything I tried was excellent, like, there was nothing that we had on our table that was not good. And so I did like a vegetarian plate. So I had corn on the cob, Brussels sprouts, the mashed potatoes. We had some garlic toast. Mike did, he did like some chicken thigh skewers. When do they ever put thighs on skewers? Like, it just was amazing. And then the carrot cake, to die for. Like, everything was good. The manager came over, make sure we was okay. He was like, "Oh, this your first time?" I was like, "Our first, but it will not be our last. Like, we'll be going back." And so that particular one, we went in Crofton, Maryland, but I think they have 4 locations here in Maryland. But anyway, excellent food. So it's South African food with a Portuguese twist. That's what he told us. So it was excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And it felt healthy, right? It didn't feel like, it wasn't extremely like greasy or anything like that. Like, it wasn't overly flavored. Like, it was perfection. So that's Tell Me Something Good number 1. And then the other thing, really in honor of Juneteenth that we just celebrated here on, celebrated nationally on Monday, but of course the day was on Sunday. It was a good documentary. Now, I don't know how old this documentary is, but I was just introduced to it last night, and it's called Who We Are. And it basically chronicles like racism in America. And the civil rights lawyer, Jeffrey Robinson, like, it's almost like he's giving a talk, but he's having these interviews, these real conversations with people like about, so what's your thoughts on racism? Like, so he's asking other cultures, like white, Caucasian people, what's your thoughts on this? So what do you think about slavery and how did it impact? And he's really unpacking a lot in this documentary. And I would highly suggest, and it's nothing like, it's not gruesome, right? But he's showing it's like a correlation between what was happening then and what's still happening now, right? With the police and all these things. And so I've even learned of, some individuals that I didn't know about, right? So, but they was talking to Eric Gardner's mom, and one of the things he asked her was, how do you want your son to be remembered? And she said, like the what did she say? It was like she's called him like the lamb, right? And it was like she just wants his name and his legacy. And so it was really good. And of course they brung back that Emmett Till story, which that was a phenomenal show if you guys didn't watch that show. But the families were recognizing how important their lives was, but how even more important like their deaths were. And like when they show, it really touched me when they showed George Floyd, like it was everywhere, like Australia and all these different countries like rallying, and it's like God made his name great, you know what I mean? So it really is powerful. Like I said, it's not extremely gruesome. He just wants to have an intelligent conversation with everyone, like, because and how he opened up was and I'll wrap it up, but he opened up, he asked everybody in the audience who has ever owned a slave. And of course everybody there couldn't raise their hand, but he's like, even though we haven't, like, we're still a part of it, right? And so we got to figure out what we're going to do, because it's a part of our nation. And the other thing that he said, and I promise I'm done, but I really enjoy how he pointed out, like, there's good and bad in everything, including our country. So although there was a lot of bad that happened, there's still a lot of good happening as well. And so it's really good. I was like intrigued. So I highly recommend it. Again, it's called Who We Are. It's a documentary on Netflix, and it's really a chronicle. It's called A Chronicle of Racism in America. But it's teaching you how to have conversations with people on racism, because it affects us all, whether we know it or not, regardless of the color of your skin. It affects us because we're seeing it every day. And so he's teaching us how to talk about it and how to have the right perspective, right? And not just be fed what the media is feeding you, but go back to the books, go back to the documents, like just go back to like it's really good. Facts and history, like, yeah, it's excellent. So that's my tell me something good.
That sounds awesome. Quick question. So it was like a town hall style?
It was town hall. It went between town hall and then some of his interviews.
Okay.
And then real quick, I promise you I'm done. But they went back. So he was born in Memphis. So they went back to, and he went to a predominantly white school. And so he went back to meet his good friend, his best friend, basically, one of his good friends, and then a coach. And the coach, I don't want to tell the whole story, but basically there was some racism that took place while they were playing, I forget, basketball. And the coach had he covered it up. And you could see live in the documentary, like the lawyer, he never knew about it. So it's like three grown men getting very emotional, revisiting when they were 8 or 9 years old, but something that the coach covered up. And it's like, he was grateful that his white coach protected him. You know what I mean? So it's just really meaningful and really deep and really good. So anywho.
Well, I'm gonna make the mood a little light. Kadesha, you were over there sounding like a Baptist preacher. So 3 more minutes and I'm done. I promise you, I'm almost done.
You said my first close, my second close.
Look, I almost had to throw my hand up. The church finger, like, excuse me. I'm just kidding. Both of you had amazing stories. Oh my gosh. Well, so I have something to say to both of your stories. Actually, fun fact, I interviewed Bobby Brown, actually the whole New Edition, but I interviewed Bobby Brown, and he was so just genuine, sweet, honest, sincere. You get that sense from him. So for him to have this show, I think is just so paramount for him at this point, because he's not ashamed to share his story, and that's what makes him so authentic, and that people enjoy watching his story because he shares it, and he's actually grateful for his transformation and the people that are in his life now that can have contributed to it. So awesome. It was an amazing experience to interview the whole New Edition. But Bobby Brown definitely stood out to me because of how genuine and down to earth he was. And also, to your point, Kadesha, I actually have Juneteenth nails. I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to try to put them up close. But my nail tech, she is shout out to Shay, beautiful one, the nail gangster. That's what she calls herself, the nail gangster, for coming up with this design. But she's always looking for new designs to do, and she asked me if she could do this on my nails, and I said, well, of course, I'm not gonna say no. So she did that, and so that was my way of honoring Juneteenth, just using the arts to express my gratitude for that holiday. Well, let me just go ahead on and talk about my Tell Me Something Good. So some of you that have been following me, and of course I've shared with Alisha and Kadesha that a week ago I was crowned Baltimore's Best Hun 2022. And so if just to give you some background, the Baltimore Hun Hive is connected to Hun Fest. The Baltimore Hun Hive is an organization that's been around for a while now, and we honor rather, women of the past, but specifically the working class women of the 1950s and 60s who were left at home to work while their husbands went off to war. And so one of their ways of just expressing themselves then, especially after working a hard day, they would put on everything they could find, their jewelry, their hairdress, their hair bows, everything, to just as an expression of being a woman then, and also being a hardworking woman. And so we've continued that tradition, and now we've brought it present day. And so this organization is becoming more inclusive, diverse, and we honor the women of the past by community engagement now. And so that's what this organization is about. I've been a part of the Hun Hive for, I want to say, about 5 years now. And the term Hun is short for honey. But back then, it wouldn't be strange to hear a woman say, "Hey, hon," when you coming into the restaurant or to the diner or to some, "Hey, hon." And so that's what it is an ode to. I've got to get used to using that term because I haven't used it much. But hey, I'm from Baltimore, and that's a term, that enduring term that we use. So yes, and the whole experience was amazing. It's part of Hun Fest. Hun Fest has been around for 30 years now, 30 plus years. Actually, next year we'll be celebrating 30 years. And Hun Fest is just a 2-day event where we all come together and dress up like you're in Hairspray, with the beehives and the flip doos and all the nice vintage clothing. And there's so much love there that you can't, it's incredible. It's infectious. Like and if you're dressed anything like the 1950s or 60s, somebody's stopping you to take a picture with you. But I wanted to show you my crown. Let me show y'all the crown. Y'all ready for the big reveal? Yeah, so I will be representing the Baltimore area and the Baltimore Hun Hive for an entire year. I will be going to events. I will be donning the crown at these events, dressed in my full vintage garb. Oh, this is my sash. And so my outfit was, when I wore my vintage outfit at the event, I was dressed like a lemon stick, or my version of what a lemon stick is. And for those of us who are from Maryland, know that a lemon stick is just a lemon that is cut in half. You put some sugar on it, and then you stick an actual lemon stick, or you put an actual lemon stick in the middle. And so that contrast between the sour and the sweet and the peppermint is like a refreshing treat for the summer. So I dressed in a dress that was had lemons on it, and I had my little bow here that represent the lemon stick, and I had the gloves to match. And so yeah, it was really fun. And then I have a new buddy. This is Flamingo the Hun. Flamingo the Hun. And Flamingo the Hun was one of the gifts that was given to me when I won. And this is like the mascot, if you will, of the Hun Hive. And if you go down Hamden in Baltimore, you'll see tons of these, like everywhere, because Hamden is like the central location for all things Hun. So anyway, that's my Tell Me Something Good, my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Hun, I just love it. I love it.
Thanks, Hun.
Look, and that crown was just sparkling. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful.
Thanks, Hun.
I love it. That's exciting, Naomi. Like, you're gonna be representing the city and going to different places and wearing your crown like the queen you are.
Gotta practice my wave.
See, I love it. Congratulations.
Yes.
Again. You deserve it for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Wonderful. Well, great stories. I love the diversity of the stories tonight. So with that, without further ado, I'm going to send it back over to you, Kadesha, to take us into the next segment.
Everybody say yeah. So yes, we're talking about national health awareness, men's health awareness. And we want to just speak to men being healthy. You know, I was looking up some statistics, and Cleveland Clinic said close to 60% of men, that's a lot, do not see a doctor on a regular basis. And they only go when something seriously is wrong. And then there was another statistic that was saying how I think it was about 20% of men go when people nag them. And in my mind, I'm like, the ladies in their life nagging them, mom, sis, wife, so we just want to bring it to the forefront. We like to honor some of the national days that come up in all these different months. And so this was a day, and we have, like I mentioned before, a lot of men in our lives that we love. And so just want to have a conversation about it. And so we have our awesome Pastor Gregory, who's going to be joining us, who is a retired pastor, but never really retired. If anyone knows pastors, you never really retire. You're always doing the Lord's work. But he's done a lot in mental health, worked a lot with nonprofits. Obviously, he has worked with youth and men. And so, and I know he's on his health journey as well. So, yes, we have an intro video, I believe. And then we will bring out Pastor Gregory. Hello.
Hey.
Hey now, how are you?
Do I do a yeah too, or like
a little dance? Oh goodness! Oh, that actually may have to be a prerequisite for all of our guests. You have to come on dancing, kind of like how Apollo had the little log that you had to.
Right.
But we're happy to have you. Thank you for being with us yet again.
Yeah, well, thank you too. I understand this is back to back. So is there royalties or anything I need to?
All right now, Pastor Gregory.
I think we'll get there. Right now, just receive our gratitude. Thank you.
I receive.
But no, we thought of you though. We did. I know you love men and you love healthy, and I know you're on a health journey yourself. And we just want to have a conversation about, men's health and maybe some of the things you're doing or some of the things you've seen people do well and or maybe not so well because we learn from both. But yeah, let's just hop right on in. But again, remember, we're not medical professionals. We're not doctors. We're just going off of the wisdom, the experience, and the knowledge that God has given us. So definitely make sure you consult your physician for any advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, let's hop in. What I know, you've shared some stories with me in the past, but of different examples of men in your life that had, maybe good or bad health. So maybe talk about some of the people that were influences as you were growing up.
Sure. So probably my dad is probably the one that stands out the most because my dad had so let me just share this one statistic because then it really brings to the forefront what happened to my dad. I saw the statistic that says that the life expectancy for Black men actually decreased. It used to be 74.7 months. Now it's 71.8. And my dad died at 77. The life expectancy of men, Black men, white men is 77, but just in the 70s. I mean, we're not even getting into the 80s. 77 is pretty young. And my dad died at 77. And because of that, and I was just with my family over the weekend, my siblings, the six of us, and the seven of us, one's in heaven. So the six of us got together, and we're all big boned people. My sisters, I got three sisters, and two other brothers, and they're big people. I'm looking at them like, okay, we're gonna have to have a family meeting now because this is not healthy. So my dad was cooked. He cooked the food in our family, and he ate a lot and he drank a lot. But it showed up by the time he passed away, he had like high blood pressure, cholesterol, heart failure. He had Parkinson's. He had three heart attacks. I mean, he had like everything that quote unquote the Black men have growing up. And I mean, going out. So I'm like, no, that's not taking me out. So no. So I had that as an example. It was a negative example, but it's like, no, my goal since I was a young age was always to be 100, to live to be 100. So I'm on this health thing, like Kadesha said. I'm like, I'm going to live to be 100, and I'm going in skating, riding my bike or something. It's not going to be like, bent over sideways. No, it's going to be going in like, okay, folks, it's 100 now. What we going to do? Where we going? What we doing? So yeah, so I'm encouraged, and I'm encouraging everybody around me as well to stay healthy, be wealthy, be a wealth of health. Be a wealth of health.
That's good.
And because I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like for the generations below. I'm 63, but I can't imagine with the generations below, with the food, the air, all the things that they're going through, the stress, what they're going to be like at 60, 63, 7, if they make it to 70. I mean, that's the statistic really scared me. To think that men in general don't make it they don't make it out of the 70s. It said that a male at age 65 with average health only has a 35% chance of making it to the 90. Only a 35% chance. Women is 46%. So that says something about our health.
Yeah.
What we're doing, what we're not doing. With our bodies and with our minds, so that is encouraging to me. Like, let's step it up.
Yeah.
Let's get our game together. Get a plan.
That's right.
Get a plan and work the plan. Plan your work and work the plan.
You hit on something. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alisha.
Well, I was just going to say, you just hit on some huge nuggets in there. I mean, the first thing was understanding that our health is our wealth. We always look at those two things separately, but, it doesn't matter how much money you get. If you don't have the health to enjoy it, what good is it? So, when you hit that, you hit my thing right there. It's like, okay. And then the other thing is just being able to look at, oftentimes we're trying to find just the positive, but being able to see a negative representation, for lack of a better word, and to be able to learn from that, to say, okay, this is not what I want, and this is my goal, and I'm not going to be limping out of here at age 100. I was laughing when you said 100, because at one point for me, I used to say 120 from the Bible. Okay. But, as I look at the world now, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be here till 120. Maybe I'll do the 100 with you, but I don't know.
Join me.
But I love it. Look, I can see you riding your bike at 100. So.
That's
right into heaven, right?
Yes, exactly. Express ride.
We're going to be like, Pastor Gregory got called up on the bike.
That's the way to go.
That's right.
That is funny. But, my grandfather died on I think it was his 94th birthday. And Pastor Gregory, you was able to meet him briefly. Right. But one of the things I always remember my mom saying about him, he always went to the doctors, right. And always got his checkups. And so I'm assuming, that was a part of his longevity, right? But you touched on it. It's just about being intentional, right? So it's okay. Yeah, I have a long to-do list, but let me make sure that my doctor visits are a part of that schedule. Let me be intentional about the things that I'm eating. And it really is a challenge, right? Particularly if you was raised in a home that where all you had was X or all you had was Y. And a lot of us, particularly, and I was watching something yesterday, like where people were in the South, there's just certain ways that you eat. So you just have to you have to break it, right? And just have those in moderation, but really be intentional about your water intake and activity. And because if we're not, then it's it just creeps up on us.
Right.
Yeah. I think it went back to what you were saying, Pastor Gregory, in terms of when you got together with your family and you're starting to look at, okay, look, this is not right. And like you said, Kadesha, the word intentional, which is my favorite word, being intentional about, look, this is not what we're going to be as a family. This is not going to be the legacy we're going to be leaving for, like you were talking about, the future generation, because they're looking just like you were looking at your dad. They're looking at what you all are doing. So yeah, kudos.
Right.
I think too that a lot of people are just afraid to go to the doctors because of what they might hear. And I had this conversation with someone before that, maybe if we change the way we look at it, and when we hear things at the doctors, just look at it as something that we can work towards improving instead of it feeling like a death sentence. Because a lot of times when you hear those diagnoses, it's like, oh my gosh, that's it. But a lot of the things we hear are things that can be cured through being intentional about what we eat, exercise, and things like that. So I had that conversation with my husband. I said, listen, don't be afraid to go, because whatever you hear, just look at it as something you can work towards improving. Right. Or make it a game. See if you can reverse it, or whatever. Because these are things we have to do or need to do. It's unavoidable. Either you're going to go by choice or you're going to be forced to go. And my thing is, I'm trying to go by choice. Okay, let me go ahead and make my annual appointments and whatever, so I don't have to go because of an emergency, only.
And that's prevention. I mean, and you can start at any time. So even if you haven't been going before, you can start right now. Just look, I'm going to resolve that I'm going to be going to my physical appointments, for men, get your prostate checked. They'll do all that in your physical, get your blood work, make sure your cholesterol, blood pressure, sugar level, glucose level. I'm actually have my physical. So I'm looking at my lab work over the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm seeing things, okay, what do I need to do about that? And a lot of it, you're going to have to advocate and research on your own. You're really going to have to do some research on your own and learn about the things that your body is going through. So your body, because everybody knows their bodies well enough, if you pay attention to it. But if you're not paying attention to it, you can start right now, because if you don't pay attention to it, it's going to start knocking, it's going to start speaking, and you're going to have to listen one way or the other. It's like that Midas commercial, see me now or see me later.
And I love what you said, Naomi, about, because we have a bold law that we that came up while you were talking. It's like the change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. And so it's like,
Good.
exactly, look at the doctor as, okay, we're on the same team. Like they want me to survive. They want me to live long, at least so you hope, right? But also what I've been learning from hearing other people and their experiences is that as you're going into the doctor, you really have to like prepare yourself mentally, particularly because sometimes science and faith don't always align, right? And so they're going to tell you the facts, tell you the truth, all right? And then we, as believers and people of women and men of faith, it's like, okay, this is what I hear, but this is what I'm going to believe, and this is the plan that I'm gonna put in place so I can overcome what they're telling me. So it really is. But you have to you got to really be headstrong going in there, because most doctors, they just tell you how it is, and they don't always have that soft side to them. But you really have to be headstrong going in there, because they're there to give you the facts, and that's what they're paid to do. So.
Yeah. I think that was good, Kadesha. That's a key part of it. The intentionality that we were talking about, being your own health advocate, when you're going in there and not being afraid to ask questions. Because like you said, they're coming from the science. And in many cases, they'll probably use some terminology that you're not familiar with. And you don't want to be that one to be like, okay, yeah, and then you leave and you can't even explain it to the next person as to what's going on. And I mean, truth be told, I think they respect you a lot more when you ask questions, because they're like, I'm sitting here trying to help you. My job is, like you said, hopefully to want to help you in your healing process. And if you're not asking any questions, the thought in their mind is like, either they're not understanding or they're not caring. And you don't want them to think that second thing, that you don't care about your health, because people don't want to care more about you than you care about yourself. So yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So tell us some of the things you're doing, Pastor Gregory, in terms of staying healthy.
Sure. So I changed my diet. So that's part of the telling Kadesha this earlier this week. I'm on a keto lifestyle. It's not a diet; it's a lifestyle. And that's just really low carbs, no sugar, or not sugar, a little bit of sugar, but carbs has sugar in itself. And basically your body already produces the sugar as well. So you don't want to have excess. So just to kind of limit the carbs. I'm looking at labels now, making sure that I'm not overdoing it with carbs, because your body your body will burn fat on its own. So we've been told that fat is bad for you. Fat is bad for cholesterol and all that, but really your body needs fat because it has protein in it and those kind of things, and your body will burn it by itself. But when it has excess fat, that's when you get in trouble. The carbs do that. Of course, pies, cakes, cookies that I love, especially cookies. You have to be careful of that. But the other pieces has to do with exercise. You got to work your body, even if it's 5 minutes. You got to start small. Don't be intimidated by the people that are running 10 miles a day. I was saying earlier, I started riding my bike, and I had this a hybrid bike, and everybody was passing me on the road. I'm like, why are you passing me? Goodness, because I was only going they're probably going 20 miles, and I'm going 10. But don't be intimidated and stop. Just be happy with the 10 or 5 and keep going and keep going and keep going. But you got to get into a routine, and it really has to become a habit. So I'm learning how to establish a habit with my exercise. But in terms of men, one of the things I think Kadesha hit on it earlier, that we don't like going to doctors. I was going to say that, I've been praying with a gentleman, he might be on tonight. His name is Terrence. We've been praying together for our kids are 22. So we've been praying probably 15 to 20 years together every Wednesday morning. That fellowship with some other man or men, there's 3 of us now that we've been hanging out together now for years, but just to have that fellowship, to be able to be transparent, because on the mental health side, when we're not transparent, for us as men, we are getting attacked big time. We're getting attacked in all ways, job, wives, not just wives in terms of what's going on with the wife, but the protection, the responsibility of having a wife, kids, managing a house, on your job. All those things, it weighs on us. And if you don't have an out, it's going to come out some kind of way. And a lot of times it'll come out in a way that's not going to be happy. It's not going to be happy for you or the people that are around you. So just that being able to be transparent about what's going on in your life. And then the Holy Spirit told me to call my best friend. I've known him for 55 years. And yesterday, the Holy Spirit said, call Mark. So I called him and said, Mark just told me this. The Holy Spirit just told me to call you because there's something going on that you need to talk about. And he just started talking about all the things. So if you listen to the Holy Spirit, he'll tell you. But him and I, we've been talking a long time and being transparent just to get it off, get it out of you. Because mental health is real. We just been through Mental Health Month in May. And for suicide in men is big, it's huge, because they can't handle the responsibility, the stress, from exercise, the fellowship with other men, to mentoring. Find somebody that can mentor you, someone you look up to, someone who's doing, our pastor taught me this, that find somebody who's doing your dream. Find somebody who's doing your dream and ask them how they do it and let them mentor you. Alrighty, so find a mentor. Find somebody you can look up to, as a married couple or even as a single male. But find somebody as that. So those kind of things are things I'm doing right now. And one of the things that I think one of you I didn't mention is you have to laugh. You got to laugh. That's why I love being around you three, because you two don't do anything but laugh.
I know that's right.
I have no problem. The silliest thing, but what you mean?
Hey, well, now it's laughter is good medicine for the soul.
That's right.
I'm not taking no pills, just vitamins. So laughter is good.
That's great.
I love it. Oh my God. But I love how you made the connection between the spiritual and the mental and the physical, because it all comes together. I enjoyed how you pulled that together. The thing that I did want to kind of go back to in terms of the keto diet, and I just want to make sure I'm understanding it. Is that the one? All right, two questions. Is it where you can't have fruits? And then what's the comparison to, I think it was the Atkins diet. Can you speak to those two?
Well, I don't know about don't know much about Atkins, but this the lifestyle of keto. But keto has to do with ketones that are already in your body. That's really what the word comes from. Mm-hmm. And ketones is what burns your natural fat. So you want to bring your body into ketosis, which means your ketones are not burning the fat, and you're not using other things to burn the fat. So that's really what you want to get your body to. And that's just from this not eating carbohydrates and just cutting out the sugars.
Now, does the sugars include fruit? Like you can't have fruit?
Some fruits are like berries are good. Any of the berries is really good.
Okay.
And watermelon, because it has a lot of water in it. That's good as well. But staying away from some of the fruits that have a lot of sweet. They're really sugary. Okay. But everything in moderation too. It's not, you don't have to stop doing them. You just do it in moderation, because everyone's on different levels. Mm-hmm. Some people go cold turkey and just cut out all the sugars. Well, I'm not there yet.
I know that's right. But I love the fact that you said is lifestyle, because, you hear a lot about the different fad diets out there. And it always concerns me when I hear those different diets where they talk about like you can't have certain food groups. And I'm like, especially if you grow them, like if they're coming from God, green earth, like how can you cut those things out? So it always scares me when I hear those. So I'm glad to hear, like you said, it's not like it's cutting out something in totality. No. It's finding the right balance, it sounds like.
Right. And you can eat. You can eat as much as you want and the other things that are healthy for you. So I'm just learning what those are, because my wife and I, we do not cook. We have to find. We're like struggling right now. Like we might need some help.
Have you tried the HelloFresh? I can't remember. Did you try that yet?
We have not tried it yet, because we're like.
Okay, maybe I'll have to cook one for you guys.
I just have to get in the kitchen and do it myself,
I think probably because it still has some element of cooking in it. He's saying cooking is the thing. It's like...
But I think, and we'll get to Kendra's comment here in just one second. But what you said, Pastor Gregory, was it was so relevant and necessary on so many different levels about establishing a habit. And that's the same thing. Because even when I first did the HelloFresh, I'm like, I still got to cook it. Right. But it's like you get in the habit of getting in the kitchen, because really when you cook at home, it really is the healthiest, because you know what's going in your food.
Right.
And you can pray over and all that other good stuff, but it's like it's getting into the habit of the exercise, cooking, eating different things. And it's like once you start it, it's like it's almost like you can't stop, because you've started it and now it's become a part of your life. But it's just that first few weeks, first few days is the hardest, but once you establish it. But no, you had Kendra's comment up there, Naomi.
Why do you think men are hesitant to go to the doctor? I think it's just fear. It's just fear. One is laziness. The other is fear about what the doctor's going to do. This laziness, some of us just don't pay attention to our body. And I've been paying attention to my body for a long time. I used to work into a women's health clinic years and years ago, and I was shocked how many just women are not paying attention to their bodies. They wait for something to ache. So that kind of got me into the health things. Like, okay, you got to pay attention. You listen to your body. It's always talking. It's always talking. So that's kind of got me into it. But for men, one is just laziness, not going to a doctor. Finances, I think, have something to do with as well. Not having health insurance, or not having, have to pay out of pocket. Just understanding the whole health insurance thing. That's a major thing in itself. Just understanding the whole process. What do you say when you go to a doctor? You just take them for granted, or do you come in with, like Kadesha said, you come in with questions? Because you know your body. I'll give you an example. So I just had my physical, and I take some supplements: ginger, turmeric, and mescadine. I take those three, and I have a shake. And so I do those three things. So I talked to my doctor about taking supplements. And the first thing he said was, well, those supplements, they're not FDA approved. So he couldn't even talk about that.
Right.
So like, okay, well, that's fine. I can see where that's your knowledge level in terms of that. So I know you're not the one to go to about that. And of course, he doesn't want to say something that's not FDA because of the liability. So I'm not going to put him in that position, but I can learn it from somebody else. So.
That's good. But you know what? Kendra's point, the last part when she was talking about what she does to make the appointment for her husband, it kind of leads me to a question in terms of, from a male perspective, what could a female, whether it's the wife or, the mom or the sister or whatever, what positive ways can a female encourage the male in their family or around them to actually, take their health seriously? And I use the word positively because there's the nagging that could happen, but obviously I'm sure that wouldn't work. So what other things would you recommend a female do?
Is there such a thing as nagging?
Positively?
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Well, yeah, I just think it's something that you just have to stay honest and don't. Because it's serious. If you have a heart attack, you're not gonna tell them, okay, you can just go ahead and just eat whatever you want. You're gonna stay on them about their nutrition, what they're putting in their body. So it really has to stay on them, but do it in a way. It's almost for my wife and the mothers and the wives and women, you have to find the area in the man's life where we're able to hear it. You have to find and that's wisdom. You have to get the wisdom from God about how you're going to communicate so that we can hear. Obviously, if it's nagging, the noise, we're not going to hear. But if you can get the wisdom of God about how to reach me in the way that I like to hear it, then you might get me to listen better.
Love it. So you just need to know that person, basically,
you do.
And tailor it around that. So. Yep. That's
spice
good.
It up a little bit too.
Spice it up. Now, obviously, that's for the wives. Oh my goodness! But I do have a question. So this month's theme, as Kadesha mentioned in the very beginning, is summer fun. You did mention exercise. You mentioned the bike. But what are some other fun ways that men, but also people in general, men and women, we could actually do to have fun, to actually bring in the health aspect as well?
Good question. I think travel, if you can travel, because travel, if you go to a park and you're walking, go do something you like to do, because now you're walking and that's exercise. So you're getting it in. Do something you like to do. Like we just, our favorite ice cream place, just, I I don't know, got bought up by somebody. So we're depressed right now because we had a spot in the Chesapeake. We go out there and get the ice cream and then watch the boats. Do some walking spot. Now we got to find another spot. Find something you like to do and add some walking into it. Find something you like to do and add a snack. We like to travel, so you cracked me up, Alisha, because you said, "Okay, where are you at now? Where are you traveling to next?" So, because last year we traveled every month. We went somewhere. We did something that we just like to do. Our young men are now old enough now to take care of the house. We can come back. We have a house, so we can go now. But we're doing things we like to do, and that's healthy for you. That's healthy for you. So I think finding that, and also hanging out with some friends.
Mm-hmm.
Hanging out with some friends that you like, couples, single people, doing some fun. I mean, Cynthia had my wife. She has her friends, and she enjoys that. If she didn't have that, she'd be miserable, and me as well. So we give each other that space to do that. So hanging out, going to the movies, that's fun. You get some mental exercise as well. So things like that. If you like reading, you like going to a library, you like doing anything to stimulate the mental faculties going on as well. Because you can get really dry if you're not having any input mentally. Doing your same old, and you're not getting really other mental input. I admire people who like to read. I'm not a reader, but I like to. Yeah, y'all like us. I admire you folks. Bookworms.
She's the book queen. She always got some new book going on over there.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it.
We were over there. There was like 5 books on the table over there.
She got a whole library, I'm sure. I'm sure.
It's a treasure trove. But no, I was laughing, Pastor Gregory, when you were talking about, basically, hang out with some people and then you put on there that you like. I'm like, that is definitely important.
Oh, yeah.
Because it can have the negative effect if it's the wrong people. So.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I love it.
I mean, it's off topic a little bit, but tell us how long you've been married, Pastor Gregory.
33 years. We're 33. I say 33 and then a year and a half of bad behavior because I was married for my first marriage egg, but it's 33 now, so it goes fast too. Goodness. So I've known Cynthia now for 40 years.
What
so
a
that's like a long time. That's a long time.
Wow.
So it's really, I mean, I love marriage. We love marriage, and but we have a healthy marriage. And I was thinking one of the things that really helps us, we used to do these, we call them state of the marriage talks. Like, the president does a state of the union.
Yeah.
We would have a state of the marriage where normally we would go away, but we would have a heart-to-heart, brutal, she didn't like it, I didn't like it, but we would do it. That's what we say, you did this, or these are our goals that we want to shoot for the next year. And we would just have a brutal talk about each other, things you like and didn't like. That's healthy. To have a healthy, brutal talk, that's healthy.
I was just thinking that because when Kadesha, you were saying, you kind of started off by saying this is off topic, but I think he brought it right back around to the health. It's like having those conversations, even though you don't want to have it, is healthy. And look, it prolongs the marriage and it's prolonging your life as well. So kudos.
And if you're single and you have those friendship talks, sometimes you've got to have that kind of talk, with your friends, Because, we're human, we make mistakes, we do things to hurt people and not intentional. And if we do, we need to forgive and we need to just, be able to move on, but reconcile.
Yes. We call them the come to Jesus meetings.
There you go. Right.
A meeting in the ladies' room. Let me talk to you. Wow, Pastor Gregory, believe it or not, you talking about time goes by fast. Wow. We are at the end of our hour. Can you believe it? Like, first of all, we may need you to get your own podcast or your own show, okay? Because you have a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom, and we're grateful. We're grateful to be connected to you, and we're grateful to have you as a guest. So we're gonna have you back. That's not a question.
I'm trying to be a regular on the show. I have to have my people talk to your people.
We
And
can make
we'll,
something
we'll,
happen.
talk,
We can make something happen.
we'll talk about them royalties on another day.
Right.
Well, we love you much, and we thank you
Hey, love
for
you
being
too.
a part of this conversation.
Love you too. Love you too.
Wow, that made my heart smile.
Yes.
That was a good conversation, and it was just so encompassing, right? So it's not just physical,
Yeah.
mental health, relational, like
Relations.
Yep.
Yep.
all of this, it goes into us being healthy.
Mhm.
So I'm sure we all took something away from this, and we pray that you did as well. To our viewing audience, and thanks, Kendra, for tuning in with your questions, girl. But yeah, this was a good show. It made it, yeah, that was excellent. So we appreciate you again, Pastor Gregory. Of course,
Absolutely.
we are here what, every Thursday 8 p.m. for what Naomi said, for an hour. 1 hour. But we're here to empower, and we pray that you receive something great today, something that you can take back to your family and to the men in your lives. Don't forget that we are empowering 3 times a week: Monday nights at 6:30 p.m., Wednesday mornings at 6 a.m., and of course Thursday we're back here. So this episode of When Wisdom Talks was brought to you by Wisdom on the Wall Inc. and Be Inspired Global. We are so excited that you joined us, and we hope that you will tune in next week as well. In the interim, stay safe, stay blessed, stay in faith, and stay healthy. Have a good night.
See ya.